アイリス、バカな、アイリス。
アイリスだって？カーネルの妹、あのアイリスか？ゼロ、彼女はレプリフォース事件の時、君が。
What am I fighting for?
Hey guys, and welcome to another Mega Man X Dive update. I know we just talked about the June 11th update yesterday, but today Capcom Taiwan has released the patch notes and a new teaser trailer for Iris. Let's begin with that teaser trailer, which we have an English translation for. It's a short 20 seconds of dialogue where Iris stumbles into the deep log, then proceeds to mistake somebody for Zero. The current theory we've been going with is that Iris is probably talking to Via here, the Blue Zero OC man. Then she basically says she's gonna head off. I don't know if this teaser trailer has any implications on the storyline of the game, but it is pretty interesting to actually have some dialogue from Iris herself here. That's something that we've been asking for a long time. Having some character banter and dialogue from new characters interacting with each other beyond the standard Rico and Via all the time. There was Axel in earlier chapters and a couple of dialogues from bosses, but that was about it. We definitely haven't gotten anything in terms of dialogue from new banner characters, that's for sure. So although it is short, I do really appreciate this. More of that please. That's the kind of content I want to see in this game. I gotta say though, what's with making Iris a silhouette here? She's been on the title screen this whole time. Capcom has shown off her artwork many times by this point, including a Facebook post, and showing off her icon at least 2 times in videos leading up to this one. What's the secrecy all about? I don't know why they did that, unless it's just for stylistic reasons. The trailer does kind of play out like an in-game cutscene, so this could be gameplay footage for all we know. I don't know, it's just very weird. Anyway, the trailer provides no other information other than stay tuned. We didn't have to stay tuned for much longer though, because they revealed the whole patch notes along with the fact that Iris is going to be the next banner literally just a few minutes later. I ask again, what was the point of that trailer? Odd announcement timings aside, let's actually talk about the patch notes, because it looks like DiVE Festival Round 2 is here this week. After the usual maintenance time tonight, the following content is going to be live: the level 80 cap, the military train story mode stage, hard mode for the floating run story mode stage, a new function update for the capsule, and lots more specific things we're going to get into now. Starting with the character skill optimizations that we talked about in the last video. Before we had to pretty much guess based off the footage, but now we have the specific notes on what they actually did. Some of these are very interesting. First up is Ferrum, who didn't even need a buff, let's be real. But here's one anyway. You can now cancel after the Blood Snake animation plays out. The same is true for Axel's Strafing Barrage, aka Bullet Hell, Roll Swing in the Swing Mop state, Marno Shuriken, which additionally got a drone animation speed up, which speaking of, several skills got speed buffs as well, like Marno's Blink, Cinnamon Syringe, and White Day Cinnamon's Courtesy Chocolate and Love Infusion. Then we get to the title character himself, X. Second Armor X has gotten a couple changes in 2 of his passive skills. His Shockwave passive skill now has a higher chance of rendering the target immobile when hitting them with the first fully charged shot. Higher chance of para is always scary. Then there is Showtime, the other passive skill that's getting a description change. Or should I say, it's going back to the original description of the skill. In case you missed it, when Second Armor X first came out, the description for Showtime used to say that Second Armor X could not receive damage while he's using the Giga Crush. Moments later, Capcom Taiwan came out and said, "Oh sorry guys, that was a deep log error. The description is actually supposed to say he will receive half damage when he uses the Giga Crush." They proceeded to release a quick patch fixing that text. And now we come to this latest update where they're just like, "Oh, just kidding bro. We're going back to what we said in the first place." Now that is funny. Still, Second Armor X is getting more powerful all the time. I may have to change my prior lukewarm opinion on him. The last character getting the buff is of course Ultimate Armor X. They raised the damage of the plasma charge shot by 20%, and the plasma field it leaves behind will now deal 50% more damage. That's a pretty strong buff. I wonder if they did that because they realized First Armor X deals more damage than Ultimate does. You know, despite them saying on the website that First Armor X isn't the best armor. Overall, I can get behind most of these changes, but I don't get why Ferrum had to get a buff. I think she needs a nerf if anything. She's a real problem in PvP with her Crimson Shade skill, especially with the inherent online lag, which is pretty much the same problem with the Pizza Cutter strategy, which by the way, they have yet to patch that in this one according to the notes, so we're gonna have to wait a little longer. Okay, let's return to discussing new content, this time the new events. As we covered yesterday, the new event opening this week is the Boss Rush Racing event. Say that 3 times fast. It's similar to the Dark Men speedrun event, where you simply compete for the best time, defeat Goliath, Chill Penguin, and the Scorpion, then exit the stage as fast as you can. Also, the boss capsules are shaped after the X3 capsules. Nice. That's not the only event though, because we have the return of the Hunter Badge collecting event. There's no specific information on it other than it's going on for a week, just like the Boss Rush event. In fact, pretty much everything we're talking about in this video is going to be going on for only a week. But like last time, you're probably going to earn Hunter Badges by playing Story Mode, Co-op, and Boss Challenge. It's unclear if the event shop is going to return though, because the next event is called the Hunter Token Lucky Roulette. Now there's already a Lucky Roulette in the game where you use the lucky tokens you get from paying real money in the game to get certain items. But the mention of Hunter tokens seems to mean it's going to be something separate. Is the way we spend Hunter Badges this time going to be the roulette from the Darkman event? Or is this an entirely separate currency since it is called Hunter tokens, not badges? Well, we'll find out tomorrow anyways. But I would say expect either a roulette again or the event shop. Maybe both. Now we come to Iris's banner for the DiVE Festival, which is convenient because at this point in the recording, Capcom Taiwan just launched yet another Iris trailer, this time showing off her gameplay and skills. For the 3rd time! What was the point of that teaser trailer, guys? You release that and then you show off her gameplay literally 4 hours later. What the heck? These announcements are wild. Well, since we're here, let's talk about the character herself. Right off the bat, there is a notice that reads, due to the effect of COVID-19, hope I don't get demonetized for saying that, S-rank character Iris's voice setup will be postponed. Which, that's understandable, time constraints are definitely a thing, especially with what's going on in the world right now. But in that case, shouldn't they have just waited on Iris and done Command Mission Ultimate Armor X instead, who is waiting in the wings? Kinda strange to release a incomplete character now, as opposed to releasing a character that we know for sure is already done. Especially when a lot of people thought that DiVE Festival was going to be next week, not this week. To me, it was always up in the air, but yeah, that's what people thought. On top of that, the fact that they had to delay her voice specifically, that's also interesting considering that so far for every single character, they have ripped voice clips from previous games in the series. Literally the only new piece of voice acting that exists in X-Dive right now is Riko herself. So you would think if all they have to do is rip some voice clips from X4, what's the delay about? Well, you think further, and really in X4, Iris doesn't have a lot to work with in terms of voice acting. In terms of X4 at least, she only has a couple of lines before her battle, and the rest is pretty much all cutscene dialogue. Not much in the way of grunts and other things that you would need for a playable character. Though there may be a solution to that, especially if they want to use a recent voice, because Iris also appeared in the crossover game, fittingly titled Project Cross Zone. They may be able to take a thing or two from that game, but then that raises the question, would they have to ask permission from Bandai Namco to use those files? And if so, that might explain the delay right there, because yeah, it would be hard to do that during this pandemic. Of course, the more exciting theory is that What if they were delaying the voice because they're recording new voice lines for her? I would be shocked if that was the case. But that could explain it too, since it does take time and money to do new voice lines. We're also getting to the point that I've feared for a while since this game has come out. We're starting to run out of main characters, besides all the X-Armors of course. So we're starting to get characters now that didn't really have that much voice acting in the past. So at some point, they're gonna have to stop taking from older games because they won't have any material at all. They'll either have to make new material themselves, or they're just gonna have to leave them mute, as is the case with Iris right now. We'll see what they cooked up for her though, because they did say they will announce when they'll be adding a voice for Iris down the line. So at least she won't be mute forever. Okay, I ranted about that longer than I expected, so let's actually talk about her skills. First up is Peaceful Wish. Iris strikes a T pose. I'm just kidding, it's her X4 cover art pose, as she releases a shockwave around her that can paralyze any enemy in its range. The video also notes that it can cause other debuffs as well. Very useful, especially in PvE, because she can stun multiple enemies at once, unlike Vile. And when you do get stunned, be prepared to get bombarded by the floating mines, which is her next skill. I've always stood by the opinion that it's really weird to make Iris of all characters an S rank, but floating mines might be the reason why she's an S, because boy these things look broken. True to their name, you can set the mines in mid-air, and when an enemy gets close, it will start tracking them and move towards their position until it explodes on them, causing massive damage too, as seen in this PvP clip where it takes off more than a half of Ultimate Armor X's health. Yikes! And as the trailer further reveals, not only can you stack these things, but they can go through walls too. We'll have to see how the meta shakes out with the addition of Iris, but I can say this is going to be a good choice for sprayer users that like to hide behind walls. She can stun you, cause debuff, and then stack up those mines for massive damage. That's going to be insane. Another neat detail I noticed is that when she summons the mines, these ghosts that seem to have heard a funny joke appear along with the mine. Could that be a reference to the fact that she's kind of dead? Too spooky for me. Anyway, the new DiVE Festival banner featuring Iris is going to be coming out on Thursday, aka tomorrow from when this video goes up, and it'll be going on for the next week, just like the DiVE Festival in general. The image also mentions incredible odds, so just like the last DiVE Festival banner, we should be able to expect an increased chance of getting S-rank characters and weapons. By the way, as mentioned in the image, Iris is a limited character, believe it or not. You would think she would be the permanent character in the roster, and Ultimate Armor Command Mission X would be the limited character? Nah son, it's Iris. So if you want her real bad, you better hope you got the EMs to spend. It seems the first DiVE Festival limited character, Ultimate Armor X, is set to return in this banner as well. We can safely assume that's going to be the common theme going forward, having previous limited characters appear in future DiVE Festival banners. It just makes sense. But that's not all, because with this banner they are introducing a new system, which is basically the pity system that we've been asking for a very long time now. This system is called the Capsule Exchange Points. They don't explain what exactly it does, but basically for every pull that you do, you will earn exchange points, which you can then spend on any character or weapon that you want. It's similar to the way that you could outright buy characters and weapons back in the beta test. Now it's unknown how generous the prices on these capsule exchange points are going to be, but it sounds like it does have promise as a pity system for this game, which is something X-DiVE has needed for a long time. It basically gives the Duff McWhalens out there a reason to actually spend, because before, no matter how many medals you get, you might still not get an S rank no matter what. But now with the capsule point system, you can eventually save up to get what you want just by doing more pulls. Hence why Duff McWhalens may want to spend now. However it shakes out, as they say, it's better than nothing. The last thing on our patch notes is the fact that DiVE Festival special items are coming to the game. Because of course it's DiVE Festival. which means all the items in the shop are going to be switched out for new ones. And of course, every single banner that's currently live in the game is going to end at the same time DiVE Festival goes live on Thursday, tomorrow. So if you want to take advantage of the Second Armor X banner, the Faerun banner, or the current Assault Equipment capsule, this is your last chance. Of course, the Mega Man Day banner we talked about in the previous video has already ended as well, since it was a limited 36-hour banner. So yep, we are starting off with a clean slate tomorrow. That is all the X-Dive news we have to share with you all today, unless they end up posting yet another video. What do you guys think of Iris and the new content coming? Are you going to try to pull for her? Let us know in the comments, and I do want to thank you so much for tuning in. For more on this game and all things Mega Man, stay tuned to ShadowRockZX. Tune into our stream tomorrow as well to see all the new content in action. Until next time.
What am I fighting for?